finger policy. Let's try to understand. See, this particular palm is actually Tibet for China. This is Tibet for China, and these 5 fingers are the territories which can defend this particular palm. If the palm has to be protected, of course, squeeze down your fingers, isn't it? What are these fingers? First is Ladakh. To protect Tibet, they have to capture Ladakh. Second, Nepal. Third, Sikkim. Fourth, Bhutan. And fifth, of course, Arunachal Pradesh. So these 5 areas, they act as a 5 fingers policy for China. So directly or indirectly, they have to exercise their influence or control or dominance in any manner, चाहे वो politically हो, चाहे वो indirectly हो. इसलिए नेपाल में आप देखेंगे आज की डेट में नेपाल is very close to China. In today's newspaper only, K.P. Sharma Oli, the Prime Minister, has very explicitly narrated that he believes in one China state policy, and therefore Hong Kong belongs to China only. Alright, so this statement indicates that China has been, or Chinese diplomats have been successful in convincing the Communist Party of Nepal to fall in their lap. Alright, so this is happening there. Now they have got frustrated in the case of Bhutan. In Bhutan also they tried to play every tricks, but India has been more influential against China in Bhutan. Fine, but in the case of Arunachal, Sikkim and Ladakh, of course, situations are very much fertile to have any sort of tension between India and China. They have accepted Sikkim belongs to the Indian part, but definitely nearby the region of Sikkim, they always try to keep increasing their tentacles to capture the area of or nearby border area of Sikkim as well. Alright. So having said that, Tibet is an issue, and for that they have been eyeing very, you can say, negatively to the region of Ladakh. So Ladakh has been always a territory which they wanted to capture, but with this new map being drawn by India and being published by the government of India in November 2019 has frustrated the Chinese long-term design to capture Ladakh by pushing Pakistan to, of course, disturb India. Alright. Now here India has frustrated the aims of both Pakistan and China in one go only, in one step only. ठीक है, मतलब एक तीर से 2 निशाने इंडिया ने मार दिया सिर्फ जम्मू कश्मीर के आर्टिकल 370 को हटा के और मैप को फिर से रीड्रॉ करके. ठीक है. Now see, that frustration has led China to get convinced that now it is high time to encroach into the territories of the Indian LAC. Fine, that's one aspect. Second, see, internationally and globally also, China is under deep criticism because of Corona. Alright, now they want to also divert the attention of the Chinese people and as well as the global population, the global community against China in terms of raising more and more tensions on the border. Whether in the case of, let's say, the Hong Kong, they have done it recently. In the case of Taiwan, they are going to do it very soon. Of course, in the case of Ladakh, they are doing right now as well. So to divert the attention of the global community, they have also tried to push up these all issues recently in front of the global world and especially for India. Fine. Thirdly, the government of India has come out with this narrative of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now this Atmanirbhar Bharat is indirectly targeting Chinese only, because we are right now having more than 100 billion of US dollar of trade between India and China. And I have seen people talking about that why Indian government cannot stop it, why Indian government does not stop the trade of India and China. Let me tell you one thing, as per the WTO norms and the global norms, a state or a government cannot interfere in terms of stopping the exchange of goods and services between the two countries. Alright, now today India is a part of a globalized world. So obviously it is a demand factor which has to be curbed down. Alright, so demand factor को curb करना है. तो चाइनीज गुड्स के डिमांड को कम से कम करना है. जितना हम कम करेंगे उतना ज़्यादा हमारे लिए फ़ायदा है. दोनों तरीके से हम आत्मनिर्भर भी बनेंगे और साथ साथ हम अपने ट्रेड इम्बैलेंस को भी ठीक कर पाएंगे. Now that was a slogan given by the government of India, especially the Prime Minister of India. Now it has again been interpreted by China. There's another war that India is trying to, of course, pushed upon the Chinese in the name of trade war, all right, which is already Chinese are facing in the context of from the American side and also from the European side in recent times. Fine. So now they don't want to have another enemy in the form of India. That's the reason why they want to teach a lesson to India in terms of showing their hegemony in the entire South Asian, you can say, continent. Fine. That's what actually has been the story. Thirdly, of course, India has frustrated the large or the long-term ambition of China to become the superpower in the world, especially on two accounts. One, India has denied to become a part of OBOR project. One Belt, One Road initiative. India has been the one vocal nation out of the entire Asian nations who has opposed to be a part of OBOR project, especially in the context of the China-Pakistan economic corridor. Fine. So India has frustrated Chinese design in terms of having India also on board with the Chinese plan of OBOR. That is the first thing. Secondly, RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. Now, see, India has rejected to be a part of RCEP also because of a sheer advantage in this RCEP 4 only for China, in fact. So only for China the RCEP is going to gain a lot of advantages, and India knows about it. Therefore, India has rejected to become a part of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, that is of the group of Asian countries along with other countries which are going to be part of the RCEP. A group of 16 countries going to be part of RCEP. So India has opposed to become a part of RCEP also recently. So now see, these are the frustrations of China. So these are frustrations of China, especially in the context of the economic, you can say, impact, the economic adverse impact on the Chinese, you can say, establishments. And because of that only, they want to also teach a lesson to India. Last but not the least, obviously, you can understand that the recent bonhomie between India and America has also not been liked by China. Alright, it has also not been liked by China. We'll take the example of, let's say, the Indo-Pacific region. Now, the Indo-Pacific region, of course, where America is trying to push forward India to counterbalance China. Now, this again has been treated by Chinese as a threat, as a possible threat in the form of India, which might get the support of Americans and other countries in near future. And for example, the Malabar exercise, the Malabar naval exercise, especially among the Americans, the Australians, Japanese, alright, India. So this Malabar exercise has also not been liked by the Chinese. So China also wants to teach a sort of lesson to India, and therefore China is trying to put a pressure on India from 4 quarters. Fine. Now see the implication. These are the reasons why China actually has come so aggressive, at least in the last couple of months, in the context of capturing or entering into the Indian territory of LAC. Now, what could be the implications of this? See, implications are very much obvious. For example, currently the position is that China is inside the Indian territory. So Chinese troops are not inside their own territory. They are inside the Indian territory of LAC. Fine, that's one very obvious implication. Now here, the issue lies very much important for all of, very important for all of us, that if India loses Pangsong Lake area, now if India loses Pangsong Lake area, then according to many strategists, it is going to be difficult for India to defend the entire area of Ladakh. So Ladakh would become vulnerable in near future if India is unable to defend the Pangsong Lake area where the Chinese troops have already entered. Similarly, if Galwan Valley is not defended by India and pushed the Chinese troops beyond Galwan Valley, then in near future entire Siachen is going to be under threat. Because now you can see Siachen is here, and in Siachen, India is in the commanding position of Siachen. Because what happens in mountainous war zone, if you reach to the highest peak or rather if you have control the highest peaks of the mountainous zone, you always have an advantage over your enemies. Therefore, in Siachen also, India has advantage over her enemies, whether you take the example of Pakistan or China both. Because in Siachen, the NJ9842 is the highest peak which is in the control of India right from the Operation Meghadut of 1982 itself. Fine. So the idea is, this particular Galwan Valley is equally very important for India, from where Indian forces will have to push the Chinese troops away from the Galwan Valley, so that Siachen should be always secured by the Indian troops. Fine. And Siachen is you can say the bone of contention. Siachen वो कांटा है चाइना और पाकिस्तान के लिए कि दोनों चाहते हैं किस तरह सियाचिन से इंडिया को हटा दिया जाए, क्योंकि यहां से इंडिया कैन ऑब्जर्व द मूवमेंट ऑफ द चाइनीज ट्रूप्स वेरी इजीली इन द सक्सगाम वैली एंड अक्साई चेन एंड इवन बियॉन्ड द काराकोरम रीजन. ऑलराइट, सो दैट इज एक्चुअली द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ सियाचिन. और चाइना चाहता है, पाकिस्तान भी चाहता है कि यहां से इनका कंट्रोल हट जाए, ताकि हमारा मूवमेंट जो है स्मूथ हो जाए और इंडियन गवर्नमेंट को कुछ पता ना चले कि यहां पे हो क्या रहा है. ठीक है. So this is what actually has been the issue of Siachen as well. Fine. So now in this context you can understand the implications could be very much, you can say aggressive for India, very much negative for India if India is unable to defend these territories from the Chinese troops. Fine. Now in this context, the Indian diplomats, the Indian military personnel, they will have to open several round of talks with the Chinese, because understand few things at the outset. China is militarily 4 times superior than India. China is economically 5 times bigger than India. Now a country which is 5 times economically more stronger and militarily 4 times more stronger than India, you cannot think for messing with them. Of course, if the war is thrust upon us, there will be no other option except to fight against Chinese. But definitely we have to go through the process. Now what is the process? The process is not like what we have done in the case of POK. Of course, in the case of POK recently by the government of India. Alright, so Balakot is a strike. वो process यहाँ नहीं है. Process क्या है? See, in international diplomacy, there are 3 stages of processes. One is the diplomacy. The first stage is diplomacy to negotiate with the other country. Second stage is, of course, sanctions. And the third stage is war. So, of course, primarily here, we are talking about to have diplomatic ties or diplomatic contact with the higher, you can say, echelons of the Chinese administration. ठीक है? तो चाइनीज एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के जो सुप्रीम अथॉरिटीज हैं, मिलिट्री के भी और कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी के भी, हमें उनसे अपने नेगोशिएशंस को ओपन करना होगा, अपने कन्वर्सेशंस को ओपन करना होगा. सो वी विल हैव टू सिट ऑन अ राउंड चेयर टेबल एंड देयर वी कैन डिस्कस अबाउट द पर्टिकुलर एस्पेक्ट्स, स्पेशली इन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ द LAC, because LAC of 1993 was accepted by both the armies and both the governments at that point of time. Then what happened? The China has started misinterpreting or misrepresenting the entire map before India. So we'll have to talk with them exactly in the context of making them realize that they are not fulfilling or abiding by the agreement that was signed in 1993. Perhaps China also knows it, but China wants to make India understand that India also did not abide by the UN resolution in case of Jammu and Kashmir. So I believe that China wants to teach lesson India in this context only, that how India has abolished the Article 370 in the case of Jammu and Kashmir, because Pakistan has been pushing China for long to do something against India, because no one listened to Pakistan. It is only China now, which Pakistan was also convinced that they will listen sooner or later, which China has listened to in the case of Pakistan in this particular context. So China also wants to make India realize that what India has done in the case of redrawing of map, and of course abolition of the Article 370 in the case of Kashmir. But of course it will be decided on the, of course, round table chair only in the context of what should be done in the case of this particular transgression or this particular incursions into the Indian territory. That could be the implications. So in the context of that only, the diplomatic talks are going on, and hopefully in near future we will be able to sort it out. But as far as the military strategists are concerned, according to them, this actually has taken place a bigger shape in terms of attention on the borders between India and China in recent past, because more than 10,000 troops, they have already been placed in the LAC border. And the problem for India is what? India has been miscalculating the entire particular issues of China aggression in LAC, because you can simply see there is only one division of ITBP. There is only one division of Indo-Tibetan Border Police, ITBP, which is of course designed to protect the border between India and China, and India and China in the Sikkim part and Arunachal Pradesh part also. Alright. So ITBP parliamentary force is placed there. There is only one division of ITBP. On the other hand, in the case of LOC with Pakistan, there are 4 to 5 divisions of BSF, because BSF is supposed to protect the border of LOC. Alright. On LAC, ITBP is supposed to protect the border. So the idea is India was not well prepared in terms of seeing this particular problem coming from China. On the other hand, according to military strategists, China is now well prepared, because China has constructed a lot of infrastructure in their side of LAC to support, to reinforce their forces if there would be any localized war also between India and China in this particular territory. So China is well prepared in terms of mentally, physically, and also potentially to go for a war with India in this particular region. But India has to deal with China very patiently, trying to convince China that what China has done, China has entered into the Indian territory, they should leave the territory as early as possible, what India has been able to do in the case of Doklam, of course in 2017. Similarly, India will have to do the same thing in the case of these all incursions in the case of Ladakh and also in the case of Sikkim in Nakula region. Fine. So this implication you can simply understand from the recent tensions. Fine. And apart from that, of course, there's already a call in India going on to boycott the Chinese products, Chinese apps. So we have started deleting Chinese apps and all those things. But unfortunately, I have a Chinese mobile. I can't delete it. So I'll have to carry it till I get a new mobile, which is not a Chinese made. Alright. But the point is that, of course, we all have become, I would say, the habitual in terms of using the Chinese products so commonly that in every house, every nook and corner, you will find Chinese products only available in India. Even in the government of India, every equipments the government of India uses these days are also made of China. So of course, it's a long drawn war, it's a long drawn battle that we have to fight against China in terms of economic powerhouse also. China being an economic powerhouse also. But sooner or later, we'll have to do it, because if we have to make ourselves more stronger than China, of course, the Atmanirbhar Bharat call is a good thought in this particular context. Fine. So the idea is that obviously in this context only, we have started giving the response to the Chinese aggression recently. Fine. So these actually details you need to know about from the newspaper. And of course, you know that in this area you have good number of also the people who live in this area. All right. So the best way to defend this area for India is what? Have more and more relocation of population in Ladakh. Let me tell you, एक fundamental factor है. अगर आपकी ज़मीन है किसी बहुत ही प्राइम लोकेशन में या कहीं पे भी है, अगर वो ज़मीन में कोई रह नहीं रहा है या कोई घर ही है कोई रह नहीं रहा है बहुत दिनों से, बहुत सालों से, तो आपके आसपास के नेबर्स क्या करेंगे? पहले एक ईंट आगे बढ़ाएंगे, दूसरा ईंट आगे बढ़ाएंगे, तीसरा ईंट आगे बढ़ाएंगे, और देखते देखते आपका आधा ज़्यादा ज़मीन जो है वो हड़प लेंगे. तो ये कॉमन साइकोलॉजी का पार्ट है. You need to understand few things. So India has to do, India has to continue the infrastructure projects over there, and at the same time, India must start placing good number of people in the region of Ladakh India must go for having a lot of infrastructure development projects over there, hydroelectric power projects over there, some industries over there, and through that India must start even hiring people from across India to settle down in Ladakh. Once people will settle down in Ladakh, of course, automatically this encroachment into the Indian territory would decrease tremendously, that for sure. अगर कोई नहीं रहेगा तो हर दूसरे दिन क्या होगा कि चाइना वाला कहेगा कि ये लाइन अब मेरा आगे हो गया, अब एलएसी यहाँ नहीं था, अब यहाँ से यहाँ होगा। तो हर महीने हर साल आपको नया नया इंफॉर्मेशन मिलेगा न्यूज़पेपर के थ्रू कि चाइना ने और ज़्यादा अंदर इंक्रोच कर लिया। अभी मिल रहा क्या है कि 40 से 60 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर ऑफ एरिया जो इंडिया का है वो चाइना ने कैप्चर कर लिया है। ये अभी का इंफॉर्मेशन है, कितना सही है नहीं है, that has to be verified officially in fact, but officially there has no any such a statement till now. But what we have to understand, there's no doubt about it, the Chinese have entered into the Indian side of LAC. ठीक है, तो वॉर जो है अगर होता भी है तो इंडियन साइड ऑफ LAC पे वॉर होगा, चाइना साइड नहीं होगा। दूसरा चीज, let me tell you one thing. I have studied China right from my graduation level. Alright, I had one complete paper on Chinese history only. So I know China in terms of the Chinese strength and the Chinese weaknesses. Now see, China cannot be defeated from Ladakh region. If there would be any defeat of China in near future, any part of future, it will only happen through the eastern part of China. Eastern coastal part of China. Whether you take the example of the Japanese-Chinese war, you take the example of even the opium wars. Now in all these wars, Manchurian crisis, in all these wars and crises, Chinese got defeated only from the eastern side. Because in the eastern side of China, this is the eastern side of China, you can see all the major cities right from, let's say, Beijing to Shanghai to, let's say, you can say, of course, Hong Kong, Macau, Hainan, Guangzhou. So these all are located in the eastern part. So Chinese, 80% of Chinese Han population, they are located in the eastern part. They are not located in the western part. So they know if there's any war also, of course, China is not going to lose anything. Of course, the loss will only take place in India. And that is the reason why they have become so arrogant, aggressive, and so dominant in recent days, especially in this part of the land. Fine. So their concern has always been to tame the entire revolt in, let's say, Tibet, and that's the reason why they wanted India to hand over Tawang, which is having the Buddhist monastery in Arunachal Pradesh.